me kiss a little, smack a little butt here for a while. I would highly recommend the Chris Day experience. I started 4 companies. You might have played with some of the products that one of those companies created. If you ever played with magnets on someone's refrigerator that have words on them, it's called Magnetic Poetry Kit. These guys really have been the best experience in terms of understanding the levers that I've ever had. So thank you guys. Yes, we're here to talk a little bit about a revolution. What does a revolution feel like when it's happening? I lived through one. I became a director of e-commerce in 2003. The smartest move I ever made was hiring Phil Buckley as our SEO. The team that we put together made over $30 million online. Our average order value, AOV, never more than $62, which means we sold hundreds of thousands of transactions. We had an email list of 50,000 people, and that was at a time when we thought it couldn't get any more competitive, right? Yeah, right. The problem today is e-commerce marketing is broken. And what we're going to talk about, the journey we're going to take today, is how it's broken and how we can fix it. It might seem strange to say that e-commerce is broken. You're looking at US statistics in billions of dollars. Last year, $500 billion in the US. Just over $1 trillion in e-commerce globally. You're thinking that this is broken? Yes, because e-commerce is still a tiny portion of US total retail shipping. In fact, e-commerce is lagging behind wholesalers and manufacturers. And that's an astounding statistic to me, right? 6% of total retail in the United States is e-commerce. And so there's a lot of runway. Why is it broken? Why is e-commerce broken? E-commerce marketing. When I was an e-commerce director, we relied on tactics. Email marketing was our most profitable channel by a full 10 points over organic SEO. So we made 35% on our email, 25% on our organic SEO. The problem is every tactic reaches a point of diminishing return because every one of my competitors can see immediately what I'm doing. They know my offers, they know how well we're doing, and pretty soon there's a conference to talk about how you can get better at any one of these tactics. Every tactic is doomed to reaching a point of diminishing return. Email is already, I would say, is already there. PPC, well past that point. You might think social, right? You might think, oh, social's new. And it is. It will reach a point of diminishing returns too. What's the solution? This is Phil's favorite slide, by the way. I think he's on the horse with our swan flag there. The solution is really interesting and almost counterintuitive. You almost have to rethink what you think about in terms of selling something online. You know, when I was an e-commerce director, content was not our friend. When we told a story, we lowered conversions. I think that's about to change, and here's why. Let's first of all talk about some really important pain points. Because our tool is directed at ideas that if you make a tiny improvement in, create an immediate and forceful impact to the bottom line. Things like cart abandonment rates. Average cart abandonment rate is over 65%. That means there's bigger sites out there in the ether than most e-commerce sites are actually managing. Your email marketing list, and Dave said this is going to be kind of hard to explain, but think about it this way. Your email marketing list is something that you own. You don't have to pay somebody to market to your email list. You get to do that whenever you want. If Google's organic SEO takes 50% of your traffic away from you one day, guess how you're going to make up for that? You're going to use your email list, right? And hopefully you don't email it to the point where people say, oh, I'm the hell out of here. Because you're using personas and you're being relevant. The other thing that is really important when you're an e-commerce director is, what is your site converting at? We got our site up to a little over 4%. So 100 people come in, 4 people buy. And we were so proud of that. Because the move from 3 to 4 was a $2 million move for us, right? And it still stinks, by the way. We have 2 customers already using our tool. And this, our first customer, $3 million top line, fashion retailer, and they have stores as well as websites. And you can see the impact of abandonment on them. They got their $3 million top line, they got $5 million in abandonment, right? If you claw back 5 points of abandonment, you're looking at $425,000. It's a very realistic goal with our tool, clawing back 5 points of abandonment. How do we help with abandonment? Curagami creates a sense of being an insider. You're part of a unique tribe, you're part of a club. You also see people that are like you, right? One of the things I wanted to do as an e-commerce director was make you feel like there was an avatar that you could say, that's my friend. You don't have to work that hard today. You just grab Facebook or Twitter or the other information that you can grab to say, hey, your friends are here, and this is what your friends are talking about. And we're using this favorite Phil Buckley slide here because these guys, the Rat Pack, knew the power of friends marketing, right? If you were one of their friends, you were in. Your life was easy. And that's really where we see e-commerce moving. Rat Pack or friends marketing. Here's our second customer, high-end audio customer. And here we're going to talk about the value of the email list. Right now they have 7,300 people in their list. Increase that list by 50%, that's $1 million. I know that because, and Chris wanted me to show my math, but trust me, I did the math. Each one of those customers in their list is currently worth a little under $300 to them. So if you increase that list by 50%, it's $1 million. The really cool idea here, though, is guess what? The next $1 million, you don't have to increase it 50%. You only have to increase 33% to get the next $1 million. Because we're creating a tool that makes your content, you're talking to people in email in a way that they understand because they probably gave you half of those words. You're using their language back to them. They feel like they're part of a club. Right? So as you go up, that list is going to grow and grow and grow. And as it grows, it gets easier and easier and easier. It costs less and less. This is the more with less idea. And every content marketer I know, I spent the last 2 years content marketing for Atlantic BT in Raleigh, and every content marketer I know wants to reach the magic land of more with less. And that's what these tools do. Once they're at a certain point, they're over the top of the hill and they're actually generating returns back to you. Let's look at Frank and Sammy and Dino again and ask ourselves, how do we help with growing a list? When you're having a conversation with your customers, and Phil said this very well, he said, what if you could know your customers as well as you knew your friends in high school or your friends in college? What's the value of that knowledge? They're probably going to give you the most valuable content you will never be able to buy as a director of e-commerce, user-generated content, UGC. The reason that content is so powerful is, I don't know about you guys, but when I share something, what do? I turn around to the 50,000 people that follow me across 5 different social nets, and I tell them I've shared it. So I bring my social net to the place I just shared that content. And it's called OPN, other people's network, OPC, other people's content. Those 2 ideas are key to e-commerce success going forward. Oh, by the way, it doesn't hurt if you listen more than you talk, which, by the way, I'm lousy at. When you do that, what you're doing is you're effectively creating a tribe. These people love you. They advocate for you. They share their resources for you. This is the same customer, high-end audio customer. This is an astounding statistic. Almost 400% higher likelihood of conversion for returning customers to this site than for new customers. So if I can get you to come to the site, they sell headphones. I was listening to a set of headphones and a player and some wires that cost $10,000 last Friday. And so you're not going to come to this site every day unless we can create content that makes you really interested to hear what's going on. What are people talking about? What's the scuttle? in high-end audio, not only are you 400% more likely to get a returning customer to buy from you, but you are 9% higher in terms of the average order that you get from them. That's the power of engagement, right? The people that know you and already love you, buy from you. The people that don't trust you and don't know you from you, don't. Particularly not $5,000 phones. Okay, let's go back to Sammy and Dino and ask, how does our tool create that benefit? Phil said it well. What's the value of knowing your customers like your friends? What's the value of hearing the way they speak? What's the value of being able to use that language in your email marketing? What's the value of being able to email them and thank them, or socially reward them for sharing their ideas and their content? This is actually a circle, because conversation starts. I like this, it's really cool. Oh, by the way, I see that somebody else liked it too. I buy it, and then what happens when I buy it? I go right to the beginning. I start talking about the fact that I bought it. If you add up the benefits that Curagami can provide these two customers on those 3 pain points, we're talking about a lot of money, because we're attacking things that tiny little increments of improvement generate a lot of money to the bottom line. Okay? We're not trying to get the orange button to beat the red button. You can do that for a long, long time before you see these kind of things. But when you change your cart abandonment rate, when you increase your email marketing list, and when your site converts better, you're looking at over $2 million. What's the cost for that $2 million for our customers? The cost of our tool to achieve that benefit is about $24,000. So you've got a return, an ROI for, if I was doing my old job, of 104 to 1. If I pitched that number to me, I would immediately cut it in half. And it would still more than meet my criteria, which was 10 to 1 return. If I could generate a 10 to 1 return, I was certainly willing to test. For that return, I would have signed that day and started immediately. How does it work? Curagami searches the web and finds content that's relevant and buzzing. It's another key concept here. For the last 2 years, some people may follow me on Centrail, some people may follow me on G+, and so you know that I've been working content every single day for the last 2 years. Not all content is equal. Not all content creates the same reaction. Some content gets a lot of shares and a lot of attention, some content doesn't. So we are building into our algorithm the content that really matters. We find that content, we bring it to our customers provoke a conversation about it. They watch that conversation with a magnifying glass and a dashboard. And in that dashboard are some unique metrics that we're building to address this next revolution of e-commerce. So that our customers can understand, we've got to have this content because it's very popular, but it's not making us any money. This other content is less popular, but it's making us both of money. That's how Curagami turns conversations